It's about getting into schools and talking to young people because, you know, I know that people can change. And it's about talking to people and getting them to understand and perhaps step back from violence and prejudice and whatever. And we just need to work together and keep on the good fight there.
Absolutely. Hey there, guys. We are ecstatically happy to announce that we are associated with the Sophie Lancaster Foundation.
The times are changing, and with the unfortunate death of Sophie, those changes have made a massive impact for the future. If Sophie was with us still today, I can guarantee what you are doing will still be reaching so many lives of young teenagers, young adults, and those who wish to be as different as possible. So thank you very much.
To find out more about this incredible foundation and all the work they do, and more importantly, how you can help, head on over to www.sophielancasterfoundation.com.
Hi, this is James Morrison. I'm happy to invite you to the Chronicles with Tom and Jamie. Enjoy.
The amount of shit I've got on here is insane. Do you remember how to do this, Jamie? Is it how did it go? Can you
some hands and moving them? And...
Anybody listening to this or watching it? Can you get? Yeah, it's what? Sorry, right? Yeah, hands up. Right. So hands up. Apparently. Wait. Yeah. Right. Wave. Like what? Like a game show? Oh, is that? Yeah. Okay. There we are. What's next? Oh yeah, cool. Hi guys. What's the show called? Yeah. It's the Chronicles of Podcast, and it's the 51st edition. And I do believe, Jamie.
Yes.
Chronicles of James Morrison.
Yes, it is.
Oh, fucking phenomenal! Right, we've been here long enough for the past 2 weeks. I'll get back driving. Hit it. But Jamie,
yes,
I think we should get down to what everybody is here for.
Oh, yes.
The Piece of Resistance. Welcome to the Chronicles of James Morrison. James is a character actor and also a man of the stage as well. He has been in many a TV series such as Walker, Texas Ranger, The Orville, Frasier, just to name but a few, but he is most famously known for portraying, in my opinion, CTU's greatest ever director, Bill Buchanan.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't really know James so much. Like, it was all about Bill Buchanan for you, and yeah, this was one where I'd sit back and enjoy the ride, and listening to you talk to him all about 24 and how much it meant to you and meant to him, and it's a beautiful part of this conversation, and I absolutely loved just sitting back and watching it all unfold. It is genuinely one of my favourite moments of the show, just watching you gush. It's beautiful.
It's that TV series 24 is a massive part of my family's life and now mine and Keris's, because it's the greatest TV show ever made, and I will go to my grave saying that. Absolute fact. It is, Jamie, and I can't believe you still haven't watched it.
No, I will get around to it.
It's just one of those shows where you're like, fuck, this is so... I cannot tell you the amount of times watching that TV series where Keris just cried her eyes out and gone, this is the greatest TV show I've ever watched in my life.
I love that it's made her cry. She's got that invested in it. That's nuts.
That moment that I spoiled for you, hopefully you won't remember it by the time you watch it. In season 7, episode 3, where he returns, and she was literally like, you need to pause it. I can't deal with this at the moment. You need to pause it. And she cried. I laughed because I was like, I was loving the fact that it meant so much. Like, I was like, this is exactly how I felt when I first watched this. So it's like watching it vicariously through her. And she got angry at me because I was laughing, but I was laughing not at her. I was laughing because it's like one of the greatest moments of my life. So she laughed and cried at the same time. And it was just one of the best moments I've ever had in my life. And that show has done so much, especially in my family. I never forget the moments of my mum and my sister Kate, like jumping out of their chairs, screaming, like running to make cups of tea before it came back on again. Because you couldn't pause back then. Pause back then, kids. When it was on BBC Two, and we used to run and make drinks really quickly and fucking run back in again before it came back. Oh, the greatest TV show, in my opinion, the greatest TV show alive today. Like, I love it so much.
It's just a beautiful moment. And James is an amazing guy to talk to. He's done so many wonderful things. We hear all about his one-man show as well that he's done recently in theatres. It's a heartbreaking yet really emotional story. And I would love to see this show. And the fact he does it, like I said, one man, written, performed, everything by himself. Yeah, fascinating conversation. You guys are really going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, it's called Leave Your Fears Here for those people that want to go and check that out. He's also made a few documentaries, I believe, as well. But the name has escaped me, but you'll see it on the poster behind him on the left-hand side. Jamie!
Yes, sir.
Any final words?
Nope, just Mr. Morrison, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I hope we did lull you into that false sense of security, as you so often mention during this.
A very dry sense of sarcastic humor. I love it. I said in the trailer, I was a bit like, is he serious or... but a true gent, a wonderful human. James, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I loved every single second of this. You have no idea how much this interview means to me, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future and hopefully meeting you in person someday when you bring your stage show to the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, interviewing this week, it's James P. Morrison. I know, mental.
Okay.
Here he is. He's nourished.
Grab a cuppa,
He's nourished. He's good to go.
Yes, excellent. First things first, James, I just want to say thank you, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me to join you.
No, not at all. I was literally...
Glad it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just watching 24 because I've introduced the other half to 24 because she's never seen it. And I was like, I wonder what James is doing, actually. I thought I'd message you, and here we are. That's literally
man.
It's absolutely incredible. But literally how this works is Jamie will do a nice little introduction, lure you into that false sense of security to think, you know what, it's going to be quite nice. I'm going to enjoy it. And then we're going to absolutely bombard the living hell out of you with questions. How does that sound?
That's exactly sounds just like show business. So I'm ready for you, man.
Perfect.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we bring you another very special guest. Today's guest is an actor, writer, director, and he's even a yoga instructor. Every week on the show, we hear the tales of Tom watching a very particular show called 24. So this week, we bring you the man who played the greatest director in CTU history, Bill Buchanan. Boys and girls, these are the Chronicles of James Morrison. Welcome, sir. How the devil are you?
Well, that was quite an introduction. I feel secure and safe. So
yes.
Ready for whatever you got.
The plan is working out beautifully. So I suppose we should ask the really hard-hit stuff first, James, which was, how was the last couple of years? How was your pandemic season?
Well, it started out, like everybody else's, wondering. And then it ended up being remodel the house time, and then deciding that this was just going to be live in the moment sort of time, which I think we all need to be reminded of.
Yeah.
And then watching everything change sort of time, which especially in the business that I'm in, lots of things change, how we do things, how we meet people, how we, for you guys too. I mean, your business has sort of blossomed, hasn't it?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
We found it a lot easier to tie down guests for interviews a couple of years ago than we do now. Let's put it that way.
Sure. And people are more used to the technology. They're more used to being in a situation like this. So we feel more comfortable, and you can lull us into a false sense of security, more easily. Then I spent a lot of time writing, and I ended up writing working on the play that I had just finished as we all locked down. That was sort of starting to get some momentum, and I just finished the first production of it. So, a little bit of work here and there, but we're happy. So
good.
That's what we like. That's what we like to see. I love hearing stories like that. That people are just like, yeah, I use it productively. I spent time with the family. I got stuff done. I took advantage of the break. It's nice to hear the good side of it.
Well, you have to create. I think that's the biggest thing. And I've talked to a lot of actors and writers, actors/writers, who have really, really discovered the need to create content. And by that I mean what used to be called art. I think it's called content now, but it's still art to me. So we need to, sort of learn how to take agency over our own careers. And is that the right way to put that? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I've talked to a lot of friends who've actually really, really learned how to do that, and that's encouraging. It's good. It'll only be good.
So a question we like to ask all our guests: what were your hopes and dreams when growing up? What did young Master Morrison wish to be when he grew up? Was it always acting, or was it someone else completely?
Before I was 10 years old, I've thought about this a lot recently, because it was always to do with something something to do with my imagination, creating a reality that an alternate reality, I guess, one that was, better than the one that I was experiencing. And so I used to, imagine cars. In fact, I designed the first sort of Prius-looking automobile when I was about 9 years old. In fact, they stole my design. So I take credit for that. But rocket ships to other planets, and I mean, like all kids. But then it started to about the time I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, everything changed. And so I was 10 years old when that happened. And a lot of people in my generation feel the same way. But it was a seminal moment for many of us, where we just said, I want to either do exactly what they're doing and emulate that, or try to create some sort of thing that I'm not sure what it is yet, but I want to make people feel the way that makes me feel. And so I aspired to that, even though I didn't know that you could do that or how to do that until I was later on, and just out of high school, just my last year of high school, actually.
It's amazing how much Beatlemania and that Ed Sullivan show affected so many artists, not just musicians. Like you say, just people wanting that euphoria, that feeling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I've met other people that were of that same generation of music as the Beatles that I've felt the same way about, because when I saw them and their influence on me didn't push me toward a career in music so much as it pushed me toward a career in being creative, trying to find a creative outlet. And I think kids today can do the same thing with their idols. I mean, Billie Eilish, for instance, is inspiring a whole another generation of young people to follow their dreams and hopes and desires in that regard, in that context. So that's just one example, but sure.
Yeah, social media is obviously a massive platform now for anybody to do pretty much anything. So, I mean, I think Justin Bieber came from YouTube as well. He was another one a couple of years back.
Oh, is it? I'm not sure about where he started. Is that where he started?
Yeah, YouTube's where he started, yeah.
Okay. See, a lot of those breakout guys, I mean, the ones with real talent end up being something else. But, in this culture too, I mean, the flip side of that coin is people, you know, are now becoming famous for not really having any talent at all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bieber. No joking. So I read you had like a really unique start to your career. So you ran away and joined the circus. Is that right?
Yeah, I did run away. And I ended up in the circus. So yes, you're right. That's what happened.
Oh, so it wasn't you ran away to join the circus. You ran away like, oh, a circus.
No, I actually did. I was running away from something, but I was also going to the circus. So, you know, I might as well just be honest with you, right? I mean, since you lulled me into this false sense of security,
Yeah.
I'll blame that. But when you have a substance abuse issue, you think that going somewhere else will change things, but you end up taking the problem with you because you're the problem. And that was part of that experience. So I thought that, you know, if I went to this place that I didn't, you know, that I'd only dreamed of, that everything would be fine, but it was actually worse than the place that I left, you know.
Oh, God.
It was awful. It was really awful. But I survived it, and it prepared me for this interview, because, as I said, you've lulled me into a false sense of security, and now you're pummeling me with this. So it's just like show business, really. It prepared me for that. Yeah.
You're not going to let it go, are you, James?
I'm not. No, I'm going to be talking about this for the rest of the interview. So,
God damn it.
We love a bit of continuity, though. It works. It's fine.
Gotta be careful. You gotta be careful what you say when you're. Yeah.
But I read on the bio on your website that circus sort of like helped prepare you for the world of acting. How did you do that?
Well, I mean, in terms of well, as I just said, I mean, I think that we have to be. I forget who it was. Some actor. I want to say Marlene Dietrich, but it wasn't her. It was somebody of that generation who said that you have to have the heart of a child, but the skin of a rhinoceros to be an actor.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
And
I do.
Yeah, I think it hardened me in a way that was that prepared me for. Even though, you know, you never get used to some of the things that you have to face, you know, the obstacles and the way the people and the way business is done. I mean, because, you know, you're making yourself vulnerable. And then when you're vulnerable, you get, you know, that's when damage can be done to your psyche, and all that stuff is real. It's real stuff. And people handle it in different ways. Some of us are more sensitive, and we turn to, as I said before, substance abuse to numb themselves from the feelings. But I think, you know, it's all about that paying your dues thing, you know. That's what it felt like. When I was in the circus, actually, I met some musicians, some horn players that were in the circus band. And we did eight shows a week, 2 shows a day. No, we did more than that. We did 2 shows a day, 6 days a week. So that's 12, and I can still do math. Which is amazing. So we did, you know, we would travel, you know, in the morning, set up this huge tent, do 2 shows, sometimes then move on the next day, sometimes stay in the place for a few days if it was a bigger city. But anyway, there was these young musicians who had just graduated from college, and their professor in music school said, if you really want to learn how to play these instruments, you need to go off and join the circus band and play in that band for a season. You'll do, you know, however many shows a week you do, you'll do the same music over and over, but you'll have paid your dues in a way that you can't pay them anywhere else. And so I thought about that when I was there, and I met them, and I went, yeah, that's okay. I'm going to look at that in this way, but as an actor. So there was that was beneficial.
like that. I like that. So obviously, you went on from there to study acting and hone your craft at Alaska Repertory Theatre. I can never say that word properly. But what made you make the jump to actually finally leave and actually go to study?
You know, it wasn't that much of a leap because I'd been doing plays for so long before that, since high school, as I said. And I was offered this position because I grew up in Alaska. And I had auditioned before I think it was before I went to the circus, and then some time transpired. They called me up and said, "Do you want to come back and do this training program?" It was a 2-year thing, and you'll learn how plays are produced. You'll work in every aspect of the theater, which I think is important for a young actor to do. Whether or not you want to go into the theater or not, if you decide you want to go into movies or television, you have to learn how they're made. You have to learn how, all the elements of production. So you understand what everybody else is doing around you, because it's a collaborative effort. So that's and I wanted to go. Actually, I auditioned for a proper acting school while I was an apprentice in San Francisco at ACT, American Conservatory Theater, and they didn't accept me. So I just said, I'm just going to go another route, and so I did.
I like it.
I started working, and I started studying with a teacher in LA, and I've been with him, for 40 years now. So
amazing. So I mean, was theatre? Sorry,
I'm still in class. I never stopped studying.
I think you're always learning though, every single day, no matter where you are, what you're doing. Even if you're doing the same thing every single day, you still learn. I think you're still learning until you pass on, basically. But theatre-wise, so was it theatre that you actually wanted to do, and you fell into acting as well, or was it just a collaborative use of both? Because obviously you're doing theatre since high school. I know you write plays and stuff now as well. So was theatre just what you wanted to do? Was that the course you wanted to go down, or was acting just happened to appear and go, I fancy movies and television?
Oh no, I always wanted to be an actor. Since the first play I did, I never wanted to do anything else in the theater. Is that the question? Yeah.
Sorry, I worded that horribly, James. I'm so sorry.
No, because I understood it. So you didn't.
Okay.
I mean, you were basically talking about were you pursuing? Was I pursuing a career in the theater?
Yes.
Just as a theater artist, or did I specifically want to work as an actor?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I specifically wanted to work as an actor, but I also discovered through my apprenticeship when I was 24 that I needed to learn about all the aspects of theater. As I said, so I assisted the lighting designer. I helped build the sets. I struck the sets. I went on tour once as a dresser, for an actor with a bunch of quick changes. I mean, I just learned how plays are put on, all the different aspects and what everybody else is doing, so that we know that stuff. It's important to know all those elements of whatever it is we're doing, I think.
Yeah.
I love that. So obviously, as we just mentioned, then you did in your early career do a fair bit of character acting in episodic TV, like Automan, great name, Frasier, Walker Texas Ranger, things like that. Was TV work something you sought out, or you just sort of fell into it as part of your acting?
Yeah, I mean, I had an agent, and they submitted me for things, and I auditioned, and I got them, or I didn't get them. I think that's how every actor. That's what happens to every actor. Some of us work more than others, and some of us, are luckier than others. Some of us, get better breaks. There are lots of things that I did in television that I would rather not.
Trying to say this diplomatically.
Well, I mean, it's just some things are better than others, and so you look back on them and go, "Wow, what was I thinking?" But at the same time, I made a living, and I learned a lot. So
you learn
two pretty
things,
good
you got
gigs,
experience, and you got paid. So
I got experience, and it was better than sitting around, not working, which I did a lot of too. So I really have no regrets. I mean, even the stuff that I look back, like, well, you mentioned Walker, Texas Ranger. It wasn't exactly my favorite television program. But I did meet a couple of people on that show that I'm still friends with today, actually. And I got a lot of residuals for it as the years went by. So, how can I complain about that?
And you got to meet Chuck Norris.
No, I never did, actually.
Oh, no.
No. I was on the set with him one day, and because I was the bad guy who didn't interact with him. And we just never had occasion to meet. So
that's your true biggest regret for that one, isn't it?
Didn't get to meet Chuck. True regret. Yeah, I'm sorry that.
So I think we'd better talk about before Tom spontaneously combusts. The role you're probably best known for is CTU Director Bill Buchanan. How did this role come about for you? Was it just your standard audition process?
Yeah, well, it really was. It was so standard, in fact, that it's kind of hard to believe, because I've jumped through hoops to get things that weren't quite as rewarding. And this was just walk into the room, shake hands, read a scene that was maybe a page and a half long, as I remember. I'd only watched the show one time, so I watched it, in fact, the night before I auditioned. My family had been, I had planned, let me start from the beginning. I got the audition, I think it was on a Tuesday, for Friday. And I said, no, I can't go in. I'm going to Hawaii with my family. I used my frequent flyer miles. We're leaving on Thursday, so I wish I could go, but I can't. And my manager said, oh no, I'm going to send your family on without you. You can join them a day late, or 2 days late, and I'll make the changes to your reservation. Give me your number and everything. And I said, well, wait a minute. And he said, I think he sent me a copy of an episode to watch, because I'd never seen it. So I watched the episode, and it was the one where Jack shoots, I forget the character's name, in the head, shoots him in the head at the railway station. Who is it?
Ryan Chappelle.
Yes, he shoots Chappelle in the head. And I just went, oh man, I've got to be on this show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They'll do anything. And what an amazing, what a well-made thing. So they went on without me. My family went on without me. I stayed behind, and I walked into the waiting room, and there were like 10 actors some of whom I knew. We all read for the same things, I read, I walked out, I went on vacation. It was Christmas time, so everybody was leaving town. To make a long story short, they wanted me, but they couldn't hire me because I was already doing a show on Fox as a recurring character. I think it was called Point Pleasant.
Yep.
About a little girl who was the devil's daughter, and I was her stepfather. So they said, no, we can't do that. We can't hire him because he's already on the show, and we can't have a person on 2 different Fox shows. And so they said, well, my manager wrote them a letter, said, we really want this, you want him, let's figure out a way. So they said, okay, just make him look different. And so that's why I ended up with black hair and
oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my hair was this color. I mean, my hair was white. And they just dyed my hair and said, okay, he'll look different. And that's how it started. And I was episode to episode, they shoot 2 episodes at a time. So I was hired as a guest star for about first 10 episodes, I think, the rest of that first season. And then at the end of that season, they made me an offer to come back. And it was one of the happiest days of my life, actually. I remember it.
I'm not surprised that you got to live on for another 4 seasons.
I know, it was amazing.
And I think I look back at, you know, what you did there being, it just blows my mind. I've always wanted to be somebody from that show, because that show I've watched since it began on TV over in the UK. My family, we'd all get together every Sunday night at 9 p.m. to watch it. And sure. The amount of reactions from the amount of memories I have of my mum jumping out of her chair going mental, my sister screaming, like just this. It's unbelievable. I've rewatched it a countless times, James. I can't actually tell you how many times I watched the show, because it's just a phenomenon, an absolute phenomenon.
It's pretty well made, yeah. So that was a great memory for you then. That's good. As a kid, I mean, you were a kid, right?
Yeah, was it 1999 it started? So what's that? I would be 12.
Oh, it started back then. Yeah, I didn't join until
Series 4.
2005 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been about 16, 17.
Yeah.
But you have
I was just a little bit older than that myself. So, you know.
Yeah, you're about 21 at the time?
I was 20 years old, yeah.
But obviously you got to work with some absolutely incredible people as well. You know, Carlos Bernard, Mary Lynn, Kiefer, obviously, who's now a musician. Absolutely amazing. Like, it's hard. Many TV shows don't have that some sort of. I feel like 24 is like a one of a kind. There's not many TV shows I watch now that I'm like, oh my God, you know, it just how every single night I'd sit down and go, right, I need to watch a show. I think 24 lives in a world of its own, just in my opinion, anyway.
Well, they really sort of were groundbreaking in terms of the cliffhanger ending and the you know, and that was before streaming, so everybody had to wait a week. That was a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And then another year for the next series.
And I remember getting emails from friends of mine in the theater that I'd worked with for years and years, you know, directors and, you know, actors, and they would have parties at their houses on Monday night. It aired over here, and so they would get together the same way, and it was a big deal.
It's incredible, absolutely incredible. But you did actually deliver. There's a scene in series 7. I think it's episode 3 when Tony's been arrested by the FBI and Jack's working alongside, and then you rang him. He had to ring a number, and it was you with a voice thing over the phone. Yeah. My other half had to pause it after she found out Tony wasn't a traitor. Had to pause the show for 20 minutes to cry her eyes out for the fact that she couldn't believe. She's like, I knew he was good. Just a really iconic moment in my life. So I want to thank you for that, because we're a part of it.
Well, you're welcome. In fact, I'm not sure exactly what happened with you.
That's fine.
I'm glad it happened with your girlfriend, but I'm not. But I think I remember that they didn't put my name in the title in the credits, so that it would be a surprise that I showed up.
Yeah, because I always look at the credits every time I watch it. Yeah, and I don't think you were there.
They asked me, "Do you mind if would it be okay if we didn't?" And I said, "Oh yeah, let's make it a big surprise."
It's amazing.
Because I wasn't going to come back for season 7. My contract had expired, and I got a call, and they said, you know, we're going to go in a different direction, and it was sad, but I got it, and I didn't die, so at least I knew maybe I could come back someday. But then they called me while I was on vacation. I go on vacation a lot. I know it sounds like. And they said, you know, we were talking about this character that comes back and that comes in and works with Chloe to help Jack and Tony. And we just decided, why isn't it Bill? Why don't we just make it Bill? I mean, they all know each other. So anyway, they made the offer for me to come back, and that was beautiful. That was a beautiful call.
No, I bet.
Yeah.
But I think my girlfriend really wants to know, though, do you think they did you dirty with the way you went out? Because I feel you should have had an actual episode for it, not just a sort of.
No, I think they wanted to make it a surprise.
Yeah,
and you know, they were really good at that. You know, shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking the audience. But the only thing that I look back on and now and I think it would have been more fun if they hadn't killed me, if I'd been just completely like burned up or something, so that later on when I could come back as like, I thought it would be great to have Bill, come back as the Michael Madsen character in, what was it, season 8 or 9? There was a gun dealer guy that was just, I mean, and I just thought, just to have this scarred up guy and you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, James,
so because I was bummed that they had to kill, but I understood. I mean, I lasted a good long time, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, you did it, amazing. And yeah, I'll again, when you run into the room to shoot the gas, I wasn't happy that you went, but you're one of my favorite characters. Obviously, that's why I asked to come on the show. So it's just, gutted.
I still, to this day, I run into another room to shoot just so you know.
To reminisce.
I think it's the thing to do. If you're gonna shoot gas, you have to go in the other room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Bravo.
But with you being on so many shows, obviously having minor roles and stuff, obviously that's a great way to network though, because you meet so many different people, so many different directors, producers, etc., who work on all these other different shows.
I didn't find that to be the case.
No.
But I did. But being on a show like that, you're higher visibility, so you do get offers to do stuff. But I don't recall moving from people who worked on my show to work with them again. I know that sometimes happens, but what I found was so many people in the business watched the show.
Yeah.
That the visibility increases but it's like that for the higher profile thing you're on. I mean, that's what we all desire to nail down as a job that everybody watches, because work begets work.
Yeah.
If you do something that nobody's going to see, nobody can see it to hire you. So.
What is it about 24 you think made it such a phenomenon and this huge success? Like you said, people have parties to watch it. What do you think it was about it? It connected on so many different levels.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. First of all, it was really well made. It was well from I was going back to talking about the different components of a television show or how a play is put together. The editing, the writing, the acting, it goes without saying, the story structure, the cliffhanger endings, the boxes that they used, the time. I mean, the basic premise of trying to beat the clock, that was a winner right there. The real time aspect of it. I mean, all those things. But the most important thing, I think, and this is why I think it sort of appeals to people on either side of the, shall we call it, the ideological chasm that we find ourselves,
Yeah.
Because it's so true that the people on the far right were fans of the show, but also progressives and liberals were too, because of the kind of the really aggressively violent revenge sort of aspect to it. That's a fantasy that is never going to die. People have that, they harbor that. And whether they admit it or not, it lights a fire under them. It's a very appealing thing. It's why they keep going back to it in countless times. I'm going to avenge this person's death, or I'm going to save my country, or it's just, that's a long way to answer your question, but I think those things,
So you've also had like a great award-winning career behind the camera, not just in front of it. Like working with your wife to make several projects. There's one right behind you on a poster. What made you decide to flex those muscles? Was this your idea or your wife's idea?
Well, I think it comes from the same desire that I spoke of earlier about creating your own content. We just you have these ideas and you want to, like anybody else who does it, you have an idea, you make a note, somebody paints a picture, they start with the first stroke and they see what the next section is going to be. And, you start the novel with the first sentence or the premise or whatever. So I think it's just the need to make something that didn't exist before, or make something that existed before, but make it in a different way. You know, a lot of films have been made. Oh, that's over here. Yeah, I keep doing this.
Yes.
I do that all the time.
So films about show business and what people do, you know, have been made, you know, for years, but this is the first one. There it is. This is the first one that I know of that specifically addresses the actor's audition and what it does to actors, not how to do it, but how they feel about it. So, you know, you set out to you hear a voice like somebody writing a song, you hear a tune and you put it down and you play it and say, does this sound like somebody else's song? And somebody says, no, that's yours, man. I just saw an interview with Paul McCartney when he wrote Yesterday. And he woke up with it in his head and he played it for some people. He said, have you heard this before? I mean, is this a song already? And they said, no, I think that's your song, man. And sure enough, you know, it was.
I bet that person wishes to go, yes, it is, Paul. So tell me, what were the chords again? Just so I can run off.
Yeah, don't pursue that.
Yeah. I'll take that one off your hands, Paul. It's fine. So, but I love the idea of showing up. Like, it's such a great subject and not something people outside the industry really understand. Because obviously, I personally never seen inside a casting situation. Yeah. It's fascinating to learn about these sort of things. What was it that made you want to create a documentary about that subject, though?
It was a need to hear from the actor's perspective what auditioning, how they feel about auditioning. I mean, because it's, and then as we were interviewing these great actors, we discovered that everybody auditions, no matter what you do for a living, because we showed it to people who aren't actors, and they go, oh, you know, I do that. I do that same thing to get a job. You have to meet people and let them know who you are, and sell yourself in whatever way is, you know, contextually appropriate. So, but also I think simply it came from I was talking to an actor one day. He told me a horrible experience he had when he was auditioning, and I said, "Wow, we've probably all got those stories. I wonder what it would be like to sit and listen to them for an hour and 20 minutes, you know." That's how it started, really, because actors are great storytellers, you know, for the most part. So that's how it started.
Did you get any pushback on a project like that? People being like, oh, I don't want to peek behind people peeking behind the curtain of, like, this is who I am.
Oh, no, we never did. I mean, the only no, people were really open. I mean, in fact, they were so open to us when we started interviewing them. We suddenly went, oh, well, okay. The narrative through line of the project was revealed to us by how open and revealing these actors were in when they were talking to us. And we just said, okay, Stephen Spinella, for instance, B.D. Wong, God, so many of them just opened up their hearts and said, you know, this is how I feel about this. And we said, okay, that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about people. And, you know, that's, as it turns out, when you get a job, it's because you have that moment in the audition or in the interview where the person that's hiring you can see who you really are. You drop the veneer, you drop the persona, and your soul comes shining through. And so it only made sense then that we're talking to these people who let their souls be revealed, you know, and that's what the film is about. So
that's awesome. I really want to watch it. It sounds fascinating. I do really want to watch it.
Well, you can go to the website, and now you can watch it for nothing if you want. It's right there. Showingupmovie.com. Yeah, check it out.
Oh, wonderful. Know what I'm doing tonight.
So I love the fact that you've tried your hand at most things in entertainment now, it seems. The stuff we've already spoken about. But not only all those things, you're also a musician. I can see a guitar hanging on the wall behind you there. But and even as you mentioned earlier, a playwright now. That love for theatre, though, seems to have really stuck with you since that young. Like, for the byline of all of this, seems to be theatre. Is what made you want to like start writing your own stuff to put on your own plays to tell your story?
Well, in this instance, it's actually literally my story. It's a memoir. So it's about the changes that I went through personally when my son was diagnosed with brain cancer when he was 9 years old, 10 years old, just turned 10. So I wrote about that, and it ended up being about more than just a kid with brain cancer. It ended up being about more about what our responsibility is to each other in this brief time that we have on this planet. So with the help of my brilliant partner, Robert Egan, director and dramaturg, he helped me see that's the focus. And I mean, I had the essence of it. I had about, I don't know, 80% of it when we started working on it together, and he just helped me form it into a more cohesive piece. But going back to your question about why the theater, because that's the actor's medium. It's the only time that I've ever felt in that hour and 20 minutes or 2 hours that you're on stage, you're the ritual of exchanging these ideas with a live audience, and the ritual of the give and take is there's nothing like it. And you're not at the mercy of the editor or the director or all that stuff. It's you and the audience.
I suppose that immediate feedback sort of reaction thing helps as well. Because obviously you go make a film, you do your thing, you pour your heart in, and the director goes, cut. And 18 months later, you might finally see a review, but you get to see how the crowd react to your performance, the word that comes out. That must be so satisfying and rewarding in itself.
Sometimes it is.
Apart from when they go,
sometimes it's not. But yes, I mean that's what I'm talking about, because what we do as actors doesn't exist if there's no audience. I mean, even in film, it doesn't matter what the medium is. If nobody sees the film, what you did does not exist. If nobody watches it, you can sit, like, speaking of going into your room and letting loose the gas, you might as well be doing that, because it doesn't exist without an audience. So that ritual, which goes back as far as the cavemen, the Greek, exchange of energy with an audience. You're just fated to be in that dark room with each other, creating this energy that doesn't exist in any other way. It doesn't matter what it is. A guy sitting or a woman sitting in her room playing her guitar, that song doesn't exist unless somebody else hears it. Paul McCartney could wake up and have 100 songs in his head, but unless he plays them for somebody, they don't exist. So, yeah, and that feeling when it's live and they're there is I mean, people never forget it. I remember in acting class once, I was just starting out in LA. I hadn't done any TV, I hadn't done any film. All I'd done was theater. But I had this desire to get something put on film so it would be there. I kept thinking that it had to be there, it had to be preserved for eternity, or whatever the fantasy that I had. And my teacher said, I just saw you in a play, and it moved me greatly. I will never forget that as long as I live. It's indelibly engraved in my memory. So you have you've reached somebody without whatever fantasy you're entertaining right now, completely, totally. And until I die, I will remember what you did. And I just went, wow, this is what an amazing thing to say. And it's true. You've been affected by things. Doesn't matter that it doesn't matter that it shows up on the late show or in reruns on Netflix or whatever. You know, it's in your head with the memories that you had with your family watching 24. Doesn't matter if it's a play, stand-up comedian. You know, there's nothing like that.
Are you looking to possibly take it out on tour almost?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've only had one production, so sort of to get to my feet wet with it and get it in front of an audience and see that it works and that it actually does. The reaction was very positive.
Good
to it. So yeah, I mean, however that stuff starts, I've never done this before. So you need to get people, of course, behind the project to help promote it. So I guess that's the next step. We'll pitch it to people and see what happens. But I'd love to take it around to different theaters and do it. And then after 100 or so performances, put it down on film so it can be seen by people who can't get to it any other way, to stream it or however.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I saw it on your social media today. I think you posted it, or maybe yesterday. All the positive responses you had to it, and that you just finished it, etc. I was like, I would really like to see this. I
mean, I'd love to bring it to the UK, to the Edinburgh Festival, or
Oh yes.
See what happens. From there, I was in a play there in 1985 that ended up moving to the Donmar Warehouse in London, and as well as the Riverside Studios, which I don't know, is the Riverside Studios still there? Do you know?
I have absolutely. I don't know.
An amazing complex of theaters that used to be the old BBC studios, I think.
Oh, okay, I'll have to have a look afterwards.
Yes, it's an amazing place.
What I love about Leave Your Fears Here, the play we're talking about, is it's a story only you can tell, really. Because as you said, it's you've written it about your personal experiences. But what made you actually want to write this as a play? Was this like a form of therapy for you?
I actually wrote about it when it was happening. I wrote email updates to family and friends, and just to let them know what was happening to our boy and how we were, navigating this new and unbelievably painful experience. And I started getting responses a couple of weeks into it from people that I didn't know, like from different parts of the world. They would say, my friend Don in North Carolina sent me this, and they were from Germany or wherever. And I really just wanted you to know that I'm thinking about you and I love this. Can you put me on your email? So I started to get responses. And so then I started writing more seriously with a different, like I was actually talking to a different audience. So after that, the 2 years of going through this, I had some material, and Riyadh, my wife, is the one who said, don't you need to tell, if you're going to tell this story, you need to tell it on stage as an actor, because that's what you do. You don't make a book out of it, because people won't read it. You'll be disappointed, whatever. Tell them, get them in a room, stand up there and tell them this, find a way to do that. So she encouraged me to do that. And that was the genesis of it.
And it's a solo play, is that right?
I'm sorry?
It's a solo play. It's literally just you.
Yeah, it's just me. I play every character in it.
That must be quite nerve-wracking, not having anyone else to bounce off, just you.
It was when I was learning it, when I was memorizing it, it was, the process. But then once I got into rehearsals with Bob, I had 2 weeks rehearsal with him before we put it up. It was, he helped me shape it, physically. And it just became, 4 years of being an actor sort of made its way into the mix, and it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be.
And so I'm thinking it's funny because I was just saying then, you're like, oh, it must be so weird not having anyone to bounce off. Thinking because naturally you put yourself in that situation. I don't know what I'm doing. And not thinking this guy's got 40 years of acting experience. Of course he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but it is a different animal. I mean, it's there's no one to. I had to look for ways to be cued. You know, I use a lot of titles projected behind me and images. So every once in a while, I have to look and see where I was. And I started to rely on that because I'd never memorized that much material before, so it's a lot.
Yeah, so now you can go back and just go, what was that line again? Just bear with me, everybody.
I did, actually, I did have my script on the table with me, and I think 4 times during the run.
Yeah.
Because if you get to a point where you're actually literally saying to yourself in your head, what is my next line? You're gone.
Mm.
So if I got to that point, I would just say to the audience, journal entry check. I'd go to the script and find the chapter that I'm in. It took me 10 seconds because I knew I had everything numbered, and I just went boop, boop, beep, okay, here. And so that I could find where I was. I think I did 4 times I did it, and it was no big deal because they were with me. They were along for the ride, and I felt that from them. So I felt comfortable doing that. It's amazing that I didn't feel. I usually have a history of stage fright, of performance anxiety. You hear stories about actors having that, and I have had a history of that, but I didn't with this thing at all, and it was very bizarre. I guess because it was me. I was just telling my story, and I was excited to get out there and do it. I knew the difference between being excited and being nervous, and I was excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so sorry, obviously, that you had to go through all that anyway, just generally with everything that happened.
Well, thanks, man. He's good. I mean, my boy is good. He's doing really well.
Excellent. I'm so pleased. That is great news.
Yeah, thanks.
That's amazing. I just wondering, like, when you went into actually producing, were you worried about getting, I don't want to say in your own head too much, but obviously it's very emotional material you're dealing with here. This is digging up old memories and whatnot. Were you worried about getting lost in that, or did you sort of have to separate the art from?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that, because when I got home, I was talking to my boy Seamus, who is actually literally the star of the show. I'm not. It's he's the star of the show, and I was talking to him about trauma and how we PTSD or just post-traumatic stress, and how we process that, different. We all process it differently, and how different events create different kinds of stresses and trauma. And he said that he read recently that because he has a certain amount of it himself, just in terms of his medical history, and being a cancer survivor, he said that when some war vets are talking about their experience in war, they have said that that's the only time that they feel really alive. And of course, it's different for everybody. Some don't, but I related to that, and because I've never felt as alive as I have as an actor, and I maybe otherwise as well, as when I was talking about this event and how it affected me, because I managed to make something positive and creative out of it that actually might be of service to somebody who's going through a similar thing or who has done. So that to me made me feel more alive than I ever have. I think that's why I didn't have any qualms or feelings of anxiety about getting out and telling it. I just felt like this is what I was born to do.
I can't think of a more beautiful way to start wrapping this up. Before we do wrap up though, is there anything you're working on at the moment that you're allowed to talk about, or is all your focus on this play at the moment?
I'm not actually focused on the play. I'm going through kind of a post-play depression because it's over, and I'm going, when's the next? What's the next thing? I've had a couple of good auditions recently, but so yeah, I'm just trying to stay in the moment and do what's put in front of me and be grateful that I've got this thing that I can pull out if need be at a moment's notice and dust it off and spend a couple of days teching it, because we use a lot of projections and sound cues and stuff. It wouldn't be hard to mount it somewhere else. So I feel good. I feel I feel good.
Mr. Stevens, have you got any more questions for our wonderful guest?
What about music, James? Obviously, you play guitar and whatnot, and you've never wanted to pursue anything in music at all, or is it just because you can?
Yeah, I haven't. I have this beautiful 1962 Hummingbird sitting back there. I've got a couple more. Oh, here's another one.
Oh,
hey, there's another one.
I've got a few of them. There's
Every time I say I'm going to end with this.
This is my favorite one, though.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah,
that is. Yeah, it's stunning.
I thought he was going to play us the tune then.
That's a 1956 Gibson. That's my favorite one. But I haven't picked them up really since I started learning this play back in February. It's hard for me to multitask.
I feel that.
Yeah, so I don't have any calluses anymore. It's so hard, and I miss it. I miss it. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing that.
Brilliant. I think you've got there's a song. You got some stuff on SoundCloud, haven't you?
I do. Yeah. I wish I could tell you the address for it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's under Son to the Boy, which used to be the name of my band, Son to the Boy, or James Page Morrison, because there's an English bloke that's over there. He's got my name.
There is.
He's taking my name, and I'm not happy about it.
I wouldn't be either if you heard his music.
But what can you do? No, he's a talented kid, and it happens.
Yeah, there's only so many names in the universe, I suppose, isn't there, that anybody can have. So,
and you guys know, being over there, man, there's lots of James Morrisons running around the British Isles.
There's plenty of them over here.
Yeah, there's too many. Hey, it's been great talking to you guys. Appreciate you.
No, it's been phenomenal. I mean, do you mind if I ask a couple more, James? You got time? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So you've also got some shorts: Parking, New Descending, and obviously we mentioned Showing Up. So, but Parking, they were a while ago now, weren't they? So you dipped your toe in shorts, and then obviously came up with Showing Up. So what's Parking all about?
Oh, Parking was actually it's about a guy who's trapped in his parking space in a like a massive urban parking structure. Okay. He comes out to find that somebody has blocked him in his space, and so he waits until the guy shows up, and they have a 10-minute exchange about how to treat people in life, and that's the premise. And it was started as a play, actually a short play that was produced quite a few places. And then we hired a couple of our friends and made a little film about it. I should actually, I don't think we have a proper streaming version of it, because it was made in '95, I think. We made both their shorts in '95 and '96. So we haven't had them transferred yet for proper streaming, but I think that's going to be on the,
amazing.
That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do.
There you go.
There you go.
Thanks for reminding me.
No, you're very welcome, sir. Not a problem at all. But finally, I wanted to get to the point that when you first started out with your dreams of being an actor, working in theatre, etc., did you ever think that this is where you'd be today?
Well, I'd hoped that I would make a living, and then that when I got to a certain age, that I would be able to have a pension and have a nice little house and family. Sure. That I would keep working. I mean, I look back on it now and just, you know, feel grateful that I made enough money so that when that disaster happened to my boy, you know, it didn't bankrupt us. You know, we had good insurance, and I wish that was the case for everyone. I know it is for you guys over there. I wish it was the case in my country.
I wish it was the case for you guys as well.
Sadly, it's not. So I feel very grateful that happened. And I feel grateful that I've worked with, like you said, I mean, I worked with some of the best actors working today when I was on 24 and elsewhere. So I'm very grateful for that. And I learned a lot from every one of them. So I have no regrets, and I'm only grateful for the way it's turned out. I think that's what I was looking for. I just wanted to work with really good people and occasionally do something that, you know, elevated my you know, upped my game. And you can only really do that if you work with people who are better than you are. And so I've been lucky to be able to do that. So.
Well, you were an absolute hero in my eyes, sir.
Oh, man. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, my best to your families.
Same to you, sir. Much. Same to you.
Thank you.
Before we get out of here, have you got any plugs, social medias, websites, anything you want people to go check out?
You know, I just have a little Instagram account that is sort of the public one, which is J Paige Morrison, Paige. And that's just like news about, you know, how I feel about the world. The Facebook, you know, page is under my name too, James Morrison, actor, I think it is, so I can be, you know, separate from the other bloke that we've been talking about. But yeah, no, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I gave up Twitter because it was too harsh.
Yeah,
I'm blind.
Yeah. So yeah, but you know, the website too. If I keep, I'm going to update it soon. It's jpmorrison.com. So I'll try to keep that up to date for everybody.
Wonderful.
Love it. I feel like we've inspired you, giving you a couple of projects to keep you going now. I like it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. James, it's been so much fun. Thank you so much for taking the time out and sitting and talking to us.
I appreciate both of you. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thanks for this connect.
Not at all. The feeling is mutual, sir. The feeling is mutual. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on and just.
If I come over the pond, I'll make sure to be in touch and let you know what's going on.
Yes, please, because I would love to come and see you. Absolutely. So yes, please do that.
What a fantastic conversation. I absolutely loved it.
Jamie. Yeah. There's no words. This one is a highlight. It's up there. It's absolutely up there. Yeah. I loved every second of it.
I'll never forget you messaging me again. Oh my God, I got Bill Buchanan from 24. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I actually got a little bit emotional about it because I've always wanted to talk to him from that show, and he's such a big character and he was such a huge part of my life for 4 or 5 years that it was just like incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to get them all. But
going to get them all. We're after you, Kiefer.
But yeah, James, thank you so much, my friend, for taking the time out to sit and chat to us. It means, from the bottom of my heart, it means the world. Thank you so much. And we hope that you guys enjoy listening to it as much as we did recording it.
All right, is this thing on? Well, howdy doody, everybody. This is Braden Berry from Say We Can Fly, founder of Stay Cozy Clothing, your one-stop shop for the coziest, most fashionable hoodies, t-shirts, and more. Gosh, Mickey.
That's right, folks. And we're proud to say that we are now sponsoring
the Chronicles of Podcast. Ouch.
Hosted by Tom and Jamie.
Like, you can get 10% off, man. That's right, Shaggy. Just use the special code, The Chronicles, at checkout.
Oh, boy.